So just a note for the video that asteroids will be drawn with their colliders turned on, just to help with visibility, as there's a bit of a texturing issue going on between how skybox are drawn and how the asteroids texture themselves. So this demonstration shows the core components of our graphical system, and that includes lighting, our skybox with textures applied, and textured objects, as well as a marked out track with asteroids and planets. So now we're going to take a look at the forms of light that we have inside of our scene and how we're using light. There's three main types of lighting system that we'll be using. Those are ambient, diffuse, and specular. So this section here demonstrates the three different types of lighting that we have applied, running all at once on our planet type object. We've left it untextured here to aid with visibility, but what we can see is an example of how our light is permanent around the object. That's our ambient light that we always see, but also we now have directional light, an example of diffuse light, and we also have an appearance of shininess or reflectiveness at a certain point on the planet's surface. That's our specular light, and it helps to create a realistic portrayal of a 3D object. So as we can see here, to create a light in OpenGL, we need to define three floats, and those are ambient, diffuse, and specular, and that's enough to make the light appear in the scene and interact with other objects in a simple manner. We can also set a light to follow the top of our spacecraft, and this will have an effect of providing a permanent kind of shadow and contrast around the craft itself, which makes its appearance a little more dramatic and interesting to the viewer. In OpenGL, rendering textures is an iterative process, and the first step is to load up the images that we're going to be using for our textures into a series of image array objects, and then we can start mapping those to textures, which are defined as geometric objects to match the geometric object that we're texturing ourselves. Once we have that stage done, which is normally in an external function such as load external textures, we can move on to the next stage, which is to physically map those textures onto the object themselves through a binding process. In between all of this, we're activating various OpenGL requirements such as texture environment modes, GL replace, modulate, and activating or enabling GL texturing itself.